it's Guido coming at you with a tactics talk and update for my new player / EU experience. I promised you guys a 1000 battle update, and here it is. You can see that I have achieved tier 8. Got the lovely Christmas garage right here. I've got the Christmas crew, short one person. I've had to use one of the prize crew. One of my best crews, probably my best crew in the entire account. So we're going to go through this. I reached 1,000 battles. We'll go through my stats, take a look at that, give you some of the pros and cons, things to do, things not to do as a new player. Change my mind on a couple things along the way. We'll note those as we go. And I have really enjoyed it. I think the enjoyment thing I was going to leave for later or maybe the middle of the video, but I'm going to jump on it right now just because I've enjoyed playing the game again. Now, I did before. But I'm talking about the game where you're grinding, where you're upgrading modules, where you're thinking about which tank to go to next, where to send your crews, all those little wonky intricacies of this game that I think really draws people in. You know, they've got a really good formula here. We can have arguments about whether some of the balance and things are good ideas. Those are obviously true, but the game itself is pretty fantastic. Clearly, it's been going for about 10 years. And people keep coming to it and sticking with it. But it was nice and refreshing to start over again and check out what it looks like for the new player. Now, my new player experience is not going to be like a brand new player's. I know a lot about the game, but I still learned some things as I went and relearned some things and realized some things. So we're going to go through a lot of that stuff here. But I have actually enjoyed this quite a bit. I will also say, as a general idea, I'm not in a huge hurry to get to tier 10. I'm at 1,000 battles, and we'll go over it in just a second, but I don't have a tier 10. I don't even have a 9 right now, and I'm spread out across quite a few lines. We'll talk about the pros and cons of that as well. So I'm not in a rush. I do a lot of platooning with this, a lot of streaming with other streamers and people platooning with me, the community platooning with me. I've just really enjoyed this account. But we are going to talk about some things that I did and how I think it affected the results, at least at 1,000 battles, and then maybe a little bit about what the future is going to hold. All right, how did I do? Well, that is a great question, and I think it has a lot of interesting ramifications and things to talk about. Like I said, I got to tier 10. I am almost done. Let's just jump into the campaigns real quick. I'm almost done with the Stug campaign. I just have to do TD 15. I'm actually saving up cash right now to buy the T28 prototype so I can do the last mission, which only requires 2,000. I could do that in the Hellcat, maybe, and I can probably do it in the T25/2, but I'm on a bit of a pause right there. Again, not in a huge hurry. One thing I will say, though, about that is you do want to, once you get to the end of it, finish it so you can open up the next set, the next campaign, because otherwise all your tanks are kind of cooling their heels, and it was really nice to get done with these things and get the nice little goodies. What I also did with these is I left them active until I finished them with honors. So I've done every single mission in here with honors. I'm just waiting to do the 15 with honors. So that was my mindset there. Again, not in a hurry, so not that worried about passing ones that I just finished. I wanted to do them all with honors. I think with the Stug missions, that's pretty easy for just about anyone to do. Just turn it on and leave it till it gets done with honors, and you'll move on to the next one. We can talk about specifics of campaigns at another time, but make sure you turn them on, I think, is the big key there. So how did I do? Let's take a look at the service record here. I've got my nice coffee from Gold Coast, I believe. I hope I said that right. I can't remember now. You know, I just looked at it. It's sitting there in the fridge. Terrible. CRS. Can't remember stuff. Okay. Anyway, this was a gift. It is Christmas, and I am very much enjoying this coffee. It is fantastic. We'll talk more about that on Sunday. On strangely enough, coffee talk. So here we go. I said 1,000 battles. I went 31 over. I hit right at 55% win rate. 5,690 personal rating, averaging 997. My hit ratio is pretty low. That's not unusual for a lot of lower tier tanks as I get to higher tier, but that is something to work on for sure. Average experience at 732. Again, a lot of these numbers are pretty low, based on mostly low tiers, which I think we can actually look at There we go. So we are doing a lot of tier 6 right there. So that is kind of a standard curve that will shift to the right as I get higher tiers. And for me on my NA account, the highest one is tier 8. So that will shift forward as we go. All right. We have, what, 10 of 46 ace masteries. If we look at the vehicles here, the most played is the Renegade. We'll talk about where that came from. I am doing this free-to-play-ish is what I'm calling it. We'll talk about why I have a Renegade and a couple other premiums in there. M12 has a lot of battles. I was doing the arty missions. I was doing the arty missions. That's the only reason I was using the M12. 62% rate kind of surprised me on that. 48% surprises me on the Renegade. We're going to compare and contrast the Renegade. I'm going to compare and contrast my stats with the Renegade on this account and my Renegade on my NA account in just a minute, because it speaks to something I want to touch on quite a bit. But those are the stats so far, right at 55%. All right, let's go ahead and talk about that stuff right now. Lim facts for my stats. These are my excuses. It's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it, right? That's all right. Higher ping than NA, usually 130 to 180, somewhere in there. It's been averaging probably about 150 or so. I think that is an issue. I know there are better players than me that run with worse pings, but I will guarantee you, given the choice, you would want a lower ping. And it does affect me. I run with a 20 or 30, maybe 40 on NA, and I do notice that I lose out on some of those, 1v1 snapshot, both of us trying to click at the same time kind of thing. It is an issue. I do have some connection issues on occasion with EU, a considerable amount of packet loss, whether that's the trip to EU or just my ISP or my system is hard to tell. I have had issues with the ISP for the last couple months, but there you have it. That is a thing. Blaming it on who, I don't really know, at that point. I have not fired a single round of gold on this account. So all of these stats come with 0 gold. I am also grinding tanks from stock. I will use free experience, but I am not using gold to convert free experience. You'll notice I do have some gold, and we'll talk about that in a minute, about where it came from and what I did with it, because I made a bit of a mistake. So I haven't used gold. I have had a premium account, but a premium account is not going to make... All right, I'm going to blow some of your minds. A premium account will not make your RNG or any of the randomness of the game better. Okay. It won't. It won't. Except in one case. It may make it easier to get the credits so you can shoot special gold premium, whatever you want to call them, word of the day rounds, a bit more. All right, a bit more, which is an obvious benefit in the case of more penetration. It just is. They have negatives. APCR dropping off in pen at range, heat bouncing off of angles, and having issues with spaced armor and tracks and things like that. Okay. All right, so that's what I did with this account, and those were kind of my lim facts. No gold ammo, connection issues at time, relatively, not terrible, but relatively, especially for me, high ping that I had to fight through. And I think I did okay, as well as the stock grinds. Some humorous moments on stream playing the Pershing with the 76mm stock gun. I did that for about 3 games. Then I realized you could put the improved hardening on it and drop the 90mm, which I'd already unlocked through another tank, I believe the T29, and things went much better from there. Okay, tanks-wise, what am I running with? Well, you can see that 84 with this premium, and that helped me get a lot of credits, train a crew up, all that good stuff. I'm going to talk about credits in just a second, because they are the gatekeeper in this game at the moment. It's not really crews, it's not really experience, it's credits, especially once you get to tier 8. And the rest of the tanks, you can see I ran a lot of scout games, because that's the only scout line I've gone up. That was to knock out these scout missions. So there's a lot of those. I've run quite a few TD games in the T25/2, unlocking the tier 8. So there's a lot of games there. The 3045, same thing, unlocking the next tanks. Some tanks split off into 2 lines, so you're going to end up playing them a little bit longer if you want to unlock both lines. And so those are all the stats. Nothing really to go through there that's too amazing. Except to tell you that my only tier 8 at the moment is the Tiger 2. The first tier 8 was the Tiger 2. The second one was the Pershing, which I have more or less fully upgraded, I believe. getting close. I need the tracks, it looks like, and the turret also. So working on that. Fun little tank. I do like the Pershing quite a bit. That was the old 76mm meme I was talking about just a minute ago. So that's where we are. Tech tree wise, just a quick update on what I'm doing. On the German line, I have gone through and unlocked the Panther and 3002, both waiting to be bought. Reference credits being the gatekeeper, my friends. I have unlocked the 4502 at the Tiger P, and I'm working on the VK100-01. This is an incredibly painful tank to unlock 2 lines with. You will run into these on occasion. This thing has been power crept. I liked it probably 4 or 5 years ago. It was pretty decent. Now it is terrible. But hey, you know what? Sometimes I like playing terrible tanks. That's where we are on the German line. On the US or the Russian line, I have used the KV-1 to unlock 3 lines, which I can actually sneak into another TD line from there through the KV-2. And I'm waiting to get the credits to buy the IS. I've finished up the KV-1S. I am currently running the 150 to get to the KV-3 and unlock the rest of these things. There's a top of the tree good thing going on with the double barrels, so we're getting extra credits for that. I also unlocked the T-44. As I said in one of my earlier videos, the free Tier 6 that I got after I did the invitation missions and things was the 3485, and I was able to run right into the Russian mediums. On the US line, that's my Artie line. I've unlocked the 4043 but not bought it. Again, 2 million credits. I only have 2.7 right now, and I'm looking to get the T28 prototype. One thing to think about with credits when you're unlocking stuff, especially as a new player, you're going to want some equipment if you don't have any laying around, so you're going to need to add that cost to it, or just accept that you're going to play a tank that doesn't have any equipment, and that may not be the best idea. So don't go, ooh, I have 2.7, I can buy the T28. Well, first of all, you're only going to have 50,000 credits left. It's going to be hard to even put ammo on that thing, let alone equipment if you're trying to buy equipment. I've unlocked the T29, working up to the 110E5. I don't know how excited I am to go much further. The T29 is a beast, and that's really where I wanted to get on this line, and we'll eventually move our way up there. We've done the mediums on the US. I've unlocked the Pershing, and I still have the T20 to unlock the T69 at some point, but it's not a hurry. My light tank for doing missions line is this one. The US line, I've unlocked the Bulldog, and again, it's credits. That's the problem. Chuck, let me just add Christmas real quick. There's a lot of great Christmas stuff. I recommend you do as much as possible. We'll touch more on that later, but I've used some of the Chuck discounts to open up other things. The French line, this is where the Chuck discounts are being thrown in. I'd like to break into both the light tanks and to the wheeled tanks right there. On the Brit line, I've used some free experience to start working on getting at least a tier 4 or 5 with free experience so I can start unlocking Brit stuff. I haven't touched the Chinese, I haven't touched the Japanese, I haven't touched the Czechoslovakian, nor the Polish, nor the Swedish. The Italian line, I am on the tier 7 P43TR so I can unlock the fun autoloaders at the end, working on the Pantera. The reason you might want to spread out into some things eventually is, remember, the Excalibur missions are broken out by countries and not by vehicle type. So as you look down here, I haven't even done, oh, you know what? Here you go. I need to start. There's a great example. I wanted to touch on this later, but I can show you real time. The coalition are these 4 countries. I do have an Italian vehicle. This is why I started the Italian line. You just need one of these 4 so I can do these missions right here. But guess what, fellas? You have to start it, which means you have to click on it. So I have played a whole bunch of the P43s and other Italian stuff, and I have not been getting credit for any missions I might do because I didn't start it. Okay, click on it, start it. That was a mistake. So I've started this one, I've started block. You can see it's slowly happening right here. You know, it just takes some time. My block is German, and there you go. So I'm still trying to complete this with honors. I need 3,000 damage games. All right, again, for this initial one, on the second campaign, I'm just waiting till they get done with honors. All right. Okay, so that was that. Where are we now? We've got tier 8. You know, lines are up to you how many you want to do. I said in earlier videos, I recommend 3 or 4. I'm on 7 or 8 maybe at this point. It all depends on what your goal is. If I were you, I would have a goal of not getting to tier 10 anytime soon if you're brand new. Just play all the 6 to 8s, man, and enjoy yourself. Maybe even 5 to 8. Just enjoy yourself. Credits are the gatekeeper. I've touched on it several times. Equipment is part of that calculus by extension because it's expensive. It really starts to hit you at tier 7 to 8 because you're starting to talk about like 1.6 to 2.8 million for tier 7s and 8s. And I've had a premium account so far. You can see I have 10 days left. We're going to talk about that in just a little bit. I talked about the campaign status. The premiums I have, we'll touch on that real quickly. I do have the Renegade right here. Where's that bad boy? There he is. That was a gift. An absolutely stupendously nice gift. It came with 16,000 gold, the Renegade, and 30 days of premium. Amazing, community rocks. And I've used that to good effect by cranking out credits with it. It's got the most battles that I have on my account. Good effect for credits, bad effect for win rate. We'll talk about why in just a second when I compare and contrast. The other one I have, this is from the referral program. This is the Equal 7. I linked up with a commander in the referral program. He invited me when I had less than, I want to say it's 250 battles, and I rocked it and I got this thing. That is a fantastic program. Make sure if you start new, you have 250 battles or less, or you haven't played for 60 days, if you're coming back to it, find somebody to be your commander for a referral, and you will be able to pick one of the tier 7s that is in the referral program. There's actually a new referral program coming up, I think, already, so it might be a different tank that you can pick. I also have the 3045M, another fantastically nice gift from somebody. I haven't touched on this one too much, but I will definitely be playing this for credits later on when I start to no kidding grind on credits. See these three here, the Camo B, the heavy tank number 6, and the Dicker Max. These are rentals that were a code. Make sure if you're brand new to the game or you're a new player, you're looking for as many codes as you can chuck in there and get every little goodie you can possibly get. This was a really good code on EU that got you rentals, and the best kind of rentals are the ones that are number of battles and not time, because I can let these sit here and eventually get to them. The other cool thing with these is they came with a crew. They came with a crew, so you're just I'm gonna train up a Brit crew, fantastic. I'm gonna train up, to some extent, a Japanese crew, and I'm gonna train up a TD crew for the Germans, and then when your rental expires, just let the crew sit in it. The rental doesn't go away. You can make it go if you want. You can, I think you can extend rental, remove. There you go, remove. You can actually remove it, but let it sit there. It's de facto barracks slots. It's there. You can't play it, but your guys can sit in it, so you don't take up barracks spots. And then when you get the tanks, say the British or the Japanese, you move them out and put them into your new tank. All right. So that's what you want to do. That's where I am with premiums. Oh, one other thing. I was given 3 large boxes by somebody on stream. Another fantastic gift. Thank you very much. And I actually pulled a T78 out of it. So I do have a T78. This is a pretty good amount of premiums in good countries. A couple of U.S. Actually, 3 of them end up being U.S. That was a bit of a bummer, but we have a Soviet one as well. And we can use those for grinding out credits. And that's the big deal. Add to it the premium account, and you can really do some good work. Add to it things like the Christmas, where I've got plus 38% right now for credits. Add to it personal reserves, and all of a sudden you are cranking out some good amounts of credits. All right, good amount of credits. Always look for those things with the new accounts. All right, that is kind of the status of the account right now. I talked about enjoyment. Now let's break it down on things to do and things not to do. Things to do. Track the missions and do them. We talked a little bit about the personal missions as far as the campaigns go. On the missions tab, make sure you're paying attention to what's going on. The daily missions are good ones. Click on this. Right now, the daily missions are giving you boxes, but they usually give you things like fire extinguishers, consumables, vehicle fragments. We'll talk about that in a minute. Silver, all that good stuff. All right. If you have a premium account, then you're going to end up getting a few more goodies right there. There is a 4th mission that shows up after you finish these 3. It's usually a little bit harder, but just pay attention to what the requirements are, and usually even a casual player can probably knock these out almost daily if you have an hour or 2 to play the game. All right. Down here, as you complete the missions, you work to more epic rewards, really nice books, more bonds, and equipment and other things that are goodies down here. There's my bonds. I've managed to get 3,915 on this account. That's pretty good for about a month and a half, maybe 2 months right there. All right. So do that. Other things to do. Times fives are amazing. Anytime you can find these times fives. Right now, the Snow Maidens are giving them, every time you click and get a gift, you're getting 5 times fives. And they are times fives for any tank. The way you find those is you go to missions, you slide down here towards the bottom, and it will show up down here. If it's not the Snow Maiden ones actually show up here in the Advent calendar, and there's the times 5. I have 4 left. I've used one of them, all right? But you'll have 5 every day for the Christmas thing. But wherever they come from, they're fantastic. And the way they work is you have to do your daily double or triple or whatever it is. On the weekend, sometimes it's 3 or 5 first. And then the times 5 will kick into effect. So make sure you're playing the tank you want to get the times 5. All right, for example, let's say I'm just playing along and I say, well, I want to play my Renegade, and I do the daily double, and I'm not really thinking, I'm like, well, I really want to do my times 5 on the T29, but let's play the Renegade again. Well, guess what I just did? If I win, I'm going to times 5 experience on a premium, which may not be what I want, right? If I'm grinding stuff, I want to make sure the right tank gets it. So do your double, triple, quad, whatever it is, and then when you play that tank again and you win, whatever the requirements are, and usually it's win and be in the top 10, then you'll get the times 5. The reason they do that is so if you say you win and you're 15th and you've got 0 or near 0 experience, they don't want to waste the times 5. So you have to at least be top 10 experience and win. That way you get the most bang for your buck. All right, so do your times 5s if you get them. They come with the packages. You get them from Snow. There's a lot of ways to get them. They're fantastic for grinding. Do tank rewards if it comes back. I don't know what the status of that is. There were times 5s available there. Make sure you do that kind of thing. But that really goes with track missions and do them. Use your personal reserves. They are up here. If you click on this and then you click on personal reserves, you will find out which ones you have. Use them every time you sit down. Okay, if you get low and you want to try to adjust and make sure that you use them at the right time, that's fine. But holy cow, I have 91 of these things. 65 of these, and Chris has been awesome for the plus 50s guys. Christmas has been awesome for all this stuff. Use them. They will make 2 things. Number 1, they will not make your RNG worse. I promise. That's not a thing. Okay, it's not. Correlation is not causation, my friends. Just because you turned on your PRs and you had a bad day, it's not the PRs. All right. Number 2, they will help you grind. They will help you get better crews. They will help you grind through and get your equipment. And while on the one hand you're not in a hurry, at least you shouldn't be, on the other hand you would like to get your modules upgraded as fast as possible so it's not so painful playing a more stock tank, right? Play Platoons. Platoons give you extra credits and XP, plus 15% to both of those. Play Platoons. Check daily deals. If you are spending money, make sure you check things like the daily deals right there. Sometimes they're pretty good. Find a clan. Find a clan that's active and they are getting the clan rewards. It's not called the clan rewards. I can't remember what it's called, but you get into a clan that's actively doing things. Everybody plays. You get X amount of points, and then there's payoffs. Try to get into a clan. GFLC will take anyone, just as an example, if you're willing to learn. The no drama clan, as far as we can keep it. I talked about getting a referral. Start the personal campaigns. Okay. Special crew. If you go to the barracks and you click on recruits, that's where any special crew will come in. I have a battle pass commander. This is an American. Sometimes here there will be a date at which they go away. Pay attention to that. You don't want to wait too long and then lose that crew member. That being said, these are fantastic for commanders. Now, it's going to depend a little bit on obviously how much gold you're going to spend, or are you going to spend money, or are you pure free to play. What I have done with my special crew, except for with one exception, is made them commanders, because they usually come with enough skills to give you 6 cents, and they usually have brothers in arms as 0 skill, or at least as a skill that's already on them, depending on how they're built. So they make great commanders. You can jump right into a tank, go ahead and chuck some 80% guys in with them, and you'll train up that crew pretty quickly, and at least your commander will be rolling around with 6 cents, which is nice. The exception was the Tiger 2 crew I showed you earlier. This is the Christmas crew, along with one of the special crew from the campaign missions. Okay, mission 15 with honors will get you a crew member. I don't know if it needs honors, to be quite honest, can't remember, but the mission 15 of each one will get you a crew member. So that's very good. All right, so Use the special crews. If you want to build a whole crew, that's fine. I recommend early on just to get good commanders. I've done this with multiple tanks. Let's see if I can find one here. Now I'll put the lie to it. I think, no, you can tell by, they usually have more skills. Here's one right here. Okay, so he was a special crew. He's got just more skill than the rest of them. That's an example of what I did with the crew members. Maybe I did it with the T-71. No, doesn't look like it. Where else did I do it? So at least 3 or 4 that I did it with. Now I can't find them. Anyway, there you go. Do that. Just do it. Do what I say, not what I do, all right? Tiger 2. All right. What not to do. I said there were some things I learned. When I got the 16,000 gold, I went, ooh, this is going to be nice. Now I'm just going to use gold to move crews. At this point, I don't recommend that. I wasted a lot of gold. Say you have 5 crew members and you're moving them from one tank to another and you just want to do it with gold and not lose any of their qualification. That's 1,000 gold. You can do that 16 times. Well, guess what? That's the main qualification for the tank, not your skills and perks. You don't lose any skills and perks when you move guys from one tank to the other and do it with silver. It takes a 100% crew in, say, the Tiger 2 and makes them, I think, 90 or 80 or whatever, 90%, I think, in the next tank. Say the E75, I was going to move these 5 people up to the E75. You're going to get those skills back, or that skill back, very quickly. And meanwhile, all your skills and perks, not the major qualification, but all your skills and perks are going to be fine. All right, they don't go anywhere. Save the gold for other things, like, say I want to take a crew from an E75 and put it in a TD, changing the entire class of the crew. Use it for things like that. Or you look at your crew and go, man, I need to respec. I really screwed this up. I'm a new player. I picked bad skills. When the crew respec is on sale, instead of 200, it's 100. Then go ahead and respec crews. That's the things you should use gold for. Maybe for a premium or two if they go on sale, or you find them in the store over there, that kind of thing. Otherwise, I would hoard your gold and use it very sparingly and very carefully. There's no reason to blast it out there on moving crews from one tank to another if they're not changing class of tank. That was my big, I think, lesson learned. I burned through that gold so fast. If you think about it, like I said, 1,000 per tank, you do it 16 times. It took me 20, 30 days to blow through 16,000 gold, and it's not cheap. Gold is not cheap. I have a little bit extra because I got some for some missions and some in the boxes, the 3 large boxes somebody gifted me. So we're back to 25, and that's a little more comfortable because now I'm not worried about moving equipment. Demount kits are great if you have them, but if you need to blast 10 gold on moving equipment around, that's not as big a cost. All right. I do not recommend not using gold rounds. I said we'd talk about it, and we'll still get to the comparison between the 2 Renegates here in just a second, but the game is balanced around using some gold, especially at about tier 6 and above, and it's a full-on conflagration at tier 8. All right, you are going to suffer by not carrying some special rounds with you. You are going to find situations where you really wish you had it, and in fact, you will do better with it. It will not make you a better player necessarily. All right, if you only get 2 shots a game, carrying a full loadout of gold is not really going to help you that much. If you are at my skill level or an average player and you have 4 to 6 rounds of special ammo in your tank, it will increase your DBG a little bit if you use it at the right moment. Okay, if your account allows you to use full loadout, full try hard kind of stuff, as long as you understand some of the limitations of some of the special rounds, it will add to your DPG. Okay. But I don't think gold will necessarily make just plain old make you a better player. I would have had, I think, a little bit better stats if I'd have been carrying gold this whole time. I looked at it when I have 1,000 battles. Let's say 10% of those I could have made a difference with a little more pen. Okay, so that's 100 battles. And let's say I managed to turn 50% of those 100 battles into a win because I had some gold to fire. A little bit extra damage in those clutch situations where I was bouncing, all that kind of good stuff. That's a 5% swing. Now, do I really think gold is a across the board 5% swing? Not really, but I would say it was 2 to 3. Right? That's just some BS math out of the top of my cranium, out of my brain skull, or out of my brain pan right there. But it really is, depending on your skill level, about a 2 to 3% boost used at the right time. It just really is. You are gimping yourself by not carrying special rounds, just as you would be gimping yourself by not carrying equipment, okay, by not carrying consumables, by not using directives or camo. Directives may be not as important. I don't even know how many of those I have, to be quite honest. I have not used those very much. I'll have to take a look at that after this and figure that out. But I am telling you, you probably do not want to play this game without 4 or so rounds of special ammo used sparingly. What it has helped me with, though, is I've clearly made more credits by not shooting gold. Or have I? Because you have to do damage to make credits. You have to do damage to make credits. So sparing gold use might keep you alive longer. It might allow you to fire a few more regular rounds later because you're still around. All right, so those are the things. I do not recommend playing this game without some special rounds. Stock grinds are painful, folks. Expectation management is important. If you have that stock gun, let's say you're running your tier 6, it's fully upgraded, and you're like, ooh, I'm having a good time, I'm doing well in this. Then you say, let's buy the tier 7, and you're running it stock, and now you get grumpy because you're doing poorly. It's one of the big reasons is because you're stock. So ways around that are to you get some gold and convert to free experience. I don't really recommend that. It's pretty expensive. Wait till you have enough free experience to unlock modules. Again, once you get to tier 7 or 8, that is expensive in free experience and hard to do to get that much free experience just to plain old unlock all the modules on a tier 7 or 8 tank. So you're going to have some expectation management. Use your PRs, use your times 5s, use your doubles, and try to get through those modules as soon as possible. Carry some special rounds in those stock guns so you can actually be a bit effective. The more damage you do, the more experience you get, the faster you get through the modules. You see how that works, okay? On EU, I'm still getting used to the meta. I think I'm getting a little bit better. It's kind of crazy, but I have this under the knot to do. Just don't get grumpy with it. You know what I'm saying? Bad crews are a thing. Bad crews are a thing. Expectation management is important there as well. If you're moving crews up with skills, that's great. If you're trying to make new crews at tier 7 or 8, that can be very painful. So plan the crews, use what few premiums, if you have any, to get them trained up and ready to go in a tank that's actually comfortable and fully upgraded, and then work on moving those crews over into your new tanks. No equipment. I did this a bit at the beginning. That hurt my stats a little bit as well. While I was still trying to build some equipment stocks up and get things going, running tanks with no equipment is painful. That's not a problem anymore. I have enough tanks to play. I have a couple premiums to build up the credits to buy the equipment, so it's not a problem. But early on, especially say the first 500 battles, that will be a struggle, and you're going to have to fight through it to get the equipment on the tanks. All right. Camo was an issue as well. I'm doing okay with that. Christmas is nice because if you put them in these chuck slots, which give you extra bonuses as well, use those. That really goes back to use all the mission bonuses you can at all possible times. You can get a free camo for that, and it's that cool Christmas camo right there. All right, let's take a quick look at the compare and contrast amongst the Renegade on my NA account and the one on my EU account, because I think it tells the tale. Okay, quickly on the comparison between the two Renegades, you can see that I've got my NA account up here now, 100 battles in my NA Renegade. I've got 81 battles in my EU Renegade. 60% win rate on NA, 48% on EU. 48% survived on NA, 33% on EU. Now that talks a lot to the win rate, right? If you don't survive as much, you don't win as much. This was really interesting to me. Hit 77%, 71% on EU. I think that has a lot to do with the ping issue, to be quite honest, and the packet loss, things like that. Some people may be saying, well, it's premium or whatever. Well, I've had premium on both of those, and they're both premium tanks, so that's a considerable difference. They're fairly low sample size at 181 battles on the other side, but still, I think we can start to see some trends right there. So it speaks a little bit to that, in my opinion. Damage ratio is lower, as you would expect on the lower win rate. Destruction rate is much lower, as you would expect. Armor use is close, 52% and 0.67, 0.52 and 0.67. I don't think there's a whole big difference there, but I do have a little bit less on EU. That could be attributed to a little bit to the ping. Packet loss stuff, not being able to position exactly the way I want as fast as I want, or to get out of situations, or to present the right armor angle in time, that kind of stuff. Experience is much higher, as you would expect, on a 60% versus 48%. Damage caused to enemy vehicles, look at the difference there. That's one of the biggest ones. And I'm going to attribute that. That is almost, well, I won't say almost completely, largely due to not firing any gold on EU. Premium / special / word of the day. Some of that is going to be attributed to the ping and packet loss stuff as well, but I think you're talking 2 shots difference here per game. That is a huge deal, and 2 shots difference is the difference between being 48% and 60%. That's just how it goes in this game. Damage received is a little bit higher. Obviously, I don't survive as much, so it's going to be higher on the EU. And damage caused with assistance is close, 598 to 530. Vehicle spotted even less, actually, on EU. I've had to be more careful on EU. And even as such, less stats going on there. I thought that was kind of interesting. 0.95 is low for me, 1.38 over on the NA. And I've managed a 1900 experience and a 4,700 damage game on EU and 5,848 over on NA. I just wanted to compare and contrast that for you guys and just kind of, I think it's really interesting, and honestly, it speaks to the ping, and it speaks, I think, even more so, at least in the damage area, to not firing special rounds. I don't spam special rounds on NA. I think I carry 6 or 8 or something on that tank. I don't always fire them, but they're there. You get into those certain situations where you just really can't, it's one thing to say, oh, you just flank or you hit a weak spot or whatever. Okay, got it, true. But sometimes the dispersion misses what you're aiming at, and if you've got that extra pen, you might go through anyway. That kind of good stuff. All right, let's wrap this thing up. Well, there it is, guys, the update for my EU account at 1,000 battles. What is up for the future? I think I will be loading some premium rounds. So we're going to load some premium special gold rounds, 4 per tank, and I'll take a snapshot of what the stats look like right here, and we'll come back to it and see what happens in the next 500,000 battles with that. I may slow down a little bit. I am going to continue the Christmas ops thing with this account just to try to get to Chuck. I would like to get that commander on this account. All the other goodies that I can get. But at some point, I'm going to have to shift gears, go over to NA, because I also want, it's not often that there's something I grind for on my NA account, but I do want to get Chuck. Good news is all his missions will go concurrently, so somewhere about a week before this ends, I'm going to hammer down on the NA account and try to blast through the Chuck missions as fast as possible. Hopefully I don't wait too late. That'll also be kind of an exercise in what happens if you wait. If you wait a little while on the Chuck missions right there. But for the account overall, I'm going to start carrying about 4 rounds of gold in each tank. Maybe a little bit more if I run stock guns. And see if that actually is true. Do I do better in the next 1,000 battles by using some premium rounds? We'll see. We'll see if that is true. That is all I've got for today. Thanks for tuning in as always. I hope your Christmas should be coming up pretty soon. I think this video will be out on maybe Wednesday or so. I hope your Christmas is fantastic. If it's after Christmas, I hope your Christmas was fantastic. I never know. I don't know. I don't know when these things are going out. I just make them and then I send them out. That's all I've got, guys. Thanks for tuning in. See ya.